Here are 4 things I wish I knew about personal finance in my 20s. If I'd known about this stuff back then, it would have made a huge, huge difference. So let's start with point number 1, the most important point, money trees. Right, we all know that money doesn't grow on trees, unfortunately, but arguably the closest thing that comes to a money tree is compound interest. Right, if you want to be rich, it is vital you understand what compound interest is, how it works, and the sooner you understand about compound interest, the more you can take advantage of it. Compound interest is basically, rather than just earning interest on your money, you earn interest on your money and the previous interest you've already earned. So think about 10% interest of $100. That's $10 interest for a total of $110, right? The next year, 10% interest is not another $10, it's now $11. Year after that, another 10% interest is now $12.10, and so on and so on. It starts off small, but if you take advantage of compound interest over a very long period of time, it turns into a significant amount of money, and that's when this really starts to shine. Let's say that you find a way to invest $1,000 a month into the S&P 500. The S&P 500 generally returns about 10% each year. If you start doing this at 30, by the age of 50, you would have around $750,000, $240,000 of the money that you put in, and around $500,000 of interest. Pretty nice, right? But if you start at 20, by the time you're 50, you would have $2.2 million, $360,000 that you put in, and $1.9 million of interest. That's $1.9 million for doing absolutely nothing, right? Crazy, crazy stuff. The money tree. This is a big regret of mine that I did not understand compound interest earlier, and I did not get involved in compound interest earlier. So my advice would be learn about this stuff now and start taking advantage of compound interest right now. Do not wait. You'll thank yourself as time goes on. Number 2, investing is not a big deal, right? Investing is not just for people on Wall Street. You don't need to have a stockbroker to be able to do investing. It is completely possible for you to make your investing decisions, to manage your investments all online, just on your laptop. The world of investing always felt so alien to me. I think it's because in the movies you see these high-flying investors and it looks like they know their stuff, but really you can do all of this online. And now that I'm investing my own money, I look back and I'm kicking myself because I could have started doing this years ago. I was afraid of nothing, really. And investing is not just something you can do, investing is something you must do if you really want to grow your wealth. But investing doesn't have to be in stocks, right? You can invest in buying a house, you can invest in buying gold, right? There's lots of different ways that you can invest. So I would urge you to start learning about investing now, right? Learn about risk and reward, learn about different types of investments. Be careful, obviously, because there is a risk associated with investing, but don't put off investing because it seems distant, right? It is very possible for you to do this now, and it's something you should look into. If you're liking the video so far, be sure to subscribe to the channel for more videos. Number 3 is budgeting. Budgeting is super important because it helps you to manage your expenses, to save for the future, to stay out of debt, right? It's one of the main pillars of personal finance. By carefully planning how you spend your money and how you save your money, you basically get control of your finances. And once you have control, now you can start working towards your financial goals, whether that's buying a house or just living a comfortable life where you're not always stressed about money. When I was in my 20s, I had lots of money coming in and not really that many expenses, right? But as you get older, you get more and more regular expenses and you need to be more careful about your money. I wish I'd recognized the value of budgeting in my 20s, because if I had done, I would have saved more money, I would have given myself a better financial foundation to grow upon in my 30s. Now, I'm not saying don't spend any money in your 20s and save it all for your 30s, right? That would be a terrible way to live your life. Don't do that, definitely. What I'm saying is learn about budgeting and start to develop the habit of budgeting, because it's going to become really useful when you do get into your 30s and you do have more regular expenses and you do need to be more careful about your money. It's much better to learn the habit now than wait and learn the habit when you're already in financial difficulty. Number 4, the emergency fund, right? Shit happens. You're going to get fines, you're going to have surprise taxes that you need to pay, you're going to get made redundant. I hope not, but maybe you or someone in your family is going to need some medical care. And it's at that moment you're going to wish that you had some money set aside that you can now dip into. This is where an emergency fund comes in. Now, you don't need a big emergency fund. right? But the bigger it is, the safer you will be. I'm currently targeting an emergency fund which is equal to 1 year of my salary. So decide on how big an emergency fund you want and then start putting money aside every single month to start growing this. I started building an emergency fund last year, and although I'm pretty happy with the progress I've made over the last year, if I'd started building an emergency fund in my 20s, then I would be completely set now. And when you have an emergency fund, it gives you the confidence and the reassurance that if anything goes wrong, you'll still be okay. And this allows you to take more risks and make different financial decisions. I know that if I had an emergency fund in my 20s, I would have made very different financial decisions. So although this may not feel like something you need to do now, trust me, start building this now because it will help you to make better decisions later. So there we go. 4 things I wish I knew about personal finance in my 20s. If you're interested in emergency funds, then I would recommend you watch this video next. In it, I explain how to build an emergency fund 1 paycheck at a time. If you liked the video, please consider subscribing for more videos. And with that being said, I hope this was helpful. It's been a pleasure. I'll see you in the next video.